All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar today. I'm going to give us a few minutes for people to filter in. I see folks joining us right now. While we're waiting, let us know in the chat where you're joining from. And just a little tidbit too, if you are going into the chat, make sure you're set to everyone instead of host a panelist so everybody can see your messages. Right. Okay, we have a really exciting webinar today. I'm super pumped. I know we've been looking forward to this one. So we're going to jump in and make sure we have plenty of time to go through all this. Today's webinar is called From Application to Inspiration. So Amanda and I are that we work in the admissions department. So most of what we do has to do with students figuring out what they want to do with us and how to get started. But we also like to look at the long form of this as well. Um, Everything along the way, even after you become a student, what does that look like? We get questions from prospective students sometimes. What is it going to be like to be a student at ACHS? It's an online environment, but it's evidence-based, it's science-based. So how does all that stuff work? So we have a very unique perspective today that we'll talk about in just a minute. We will cover a little bit of that admissions experience just to make sure we've covered that. But then we'll switch over to more of the student experience. Um, and we have a guest today that we're going to be talking with sort of interview style to get her unique perspective on what it's like to be a student, what kind of support students have here, and then also a little window into what graduation looks like as well. So, um, like I said, Amanda Heller, our Director of Enrollment Services, is on with us. Amanda, do you want to give a little bit of background on yourself?
Sure. I actually have worked in higher education since grad school. I went from teaching public speaking to realizing I loved college, but I didn't want to teach. So I ended up in college admissions. I've been with ACHS for 13 years here next month. And my background, I come first generation college student. I grew up on a 200-acre ranch and moved from a very small town out in the middle of nowhere and live now up by Portland. And yeah, I just thrive in my role, getting to work with students every day and making an impact in our small little world here. Um, so that's a little bit about me.
Thank you. I'm Troy Jenkins. I'm the Director of Enrollment Management. Kind of like Amanda, I've been in admissions in some form or fashion for a while, back to 2006, I believe. I've worked with students mostly looking at enhancing or growing their career. So whether that be healthcare, business, IT, everything under the sun there. I've also worked with Blackboard, the software company that you may have been familiar with at other schools or high school even, and then have been here at ACHS for almost 3 years now. And I feel like it's the best place to be. So, and then last but not least, Anissa Arguelles, our star guest today. Anissa, we're going to give you a chance to give a little bit more of an introduction of yourself in a little bit so we have the full picture. But just as a preview, Anissa is a student, a graduate, and a peer mentor with us. So, like I said, very unique perspective on what the student experience is like here. Okay, so Amanda, we
Yes.
have some questions that students usually ask us about the admissions experience. Right in the very beginning, we'll get a lot of requests just for some information on our programs. But as we start working with people, these are kind of the most common things we hear. Can you walk us through some of these questions and kind of what your common response is to these?
Definitely. So one thing about ACHS is we're very unique because of the size of the college, and we have a very student-centric focus. on you as an individual. So this is not one thing meets everyone's needs. We treat you like the individual and adult you are, and we're here to be your biggest resource and advocate. So even from the very first step, working through admissions, reaching out to the college, each student gets to work with an admissions advisor one-on-one. So even though everyone in our department can support you, you have that person you actually get to know, build a relationship with, and be your biggest cheerleader. So they help you navigate your goals, passion, where you see yourself 2 years from now, 10 years from now, and help you navigate like what is the best program that's going to help me achieve these things. Sometimes it's a pathway. Like I have some students that will begin their journey with a certificate program, but as they go step by step, they'll work through their bachelor's. Heck, I've even had some students work all the way through their master's and doctorate with us now.
Mhm.
So just that one-on-one advising to help you figure it all out so you don't have to do it alone. Um, schedule, same idea. It's not a one size fits all. We want to work with you to figure out how much time do you have to be a student? What's going on? Do you have kids, job, or jobs? How much time do you have available to focus on your studies? So again, we're not just helping you find the right program, but really develop a schedule as you start out to set you up for success so you're thriving in class. Because some of my students are able to go full time, but not everyone can. It's about finding balance and figuring where you're gonna fit school into your life so you keep your grades up and you keep moving forward. And then question, does my advisor help me stay on track? Yes, that's our other favorite job is calling and touching base to help you through each step of the process. I had a student the other day finishing up her enrollment. She's busy, life's happening. She was, I got a message back saying, thank you for reminding me. I took care of that. So we're here to help you order transcripts for her to help you make sure you fill out the right FAFSA application, and just keep moving through all those steps, not just in a timely manner, but a smooth, non-stressful way. That's our goal. And of course, if there's anything we can't support you with, what do? We go to our team. Sometimes I have students that have really specific academic questions. We work one-on-one with our program deans and our professors to help get us those answers. Or maybe I help my student get in touch with a financial aid advisor. Again, we're all very connected and we want you to feel like you have that full support. It's an easy transition and you get the information you need step by step. We're not going to make something up. We're going to make sure you have everything along the way. And lastly, what is the best advice from the admissions team for successful enrollment? I would say probably keep track and read our emails. We provide a lot of information and resources and steps, which sort of goes back to how do I meet my deadlines? I have some students that sometimes tease me because I like to make lists for my students, 1, 2, 3, but it's to keep you organized and make it feel manageable. Like, take step 1, take step 2, and just work through it. So that way, you know that you're checking things off. And then I'm there to really back you up and celebrate as we accomplish each of those. My second piece of advice is ask questions. Never
Mhm.
be shy. Um, my team and myself, we care so much about you and the journey you're on in terms of your academics. Ask the questions. If you're not sure about something, check in with us. You're never bothering us, ever. I tell my students outside the weekends, you can text me, you can call me, you can email, you can set up appointments. You are our first priority. If your partner, if your parents have questions and you forgot to ask and you're not sure how to answer it, send us an email. So it's just about communication and letting us know what you need. So we're there to fully have your back each step of the way. Do you have any tips, Troy?
Yeah, so thank you, Amanda. That was a very comprehensive coverage. I'm looking in our guest list today, and I see some names of people that have already been through the admissions process and some that are just starting. So I think this will apply to everyone. But um, my thoughts on that, our whole goal in admissions is to take away overwhelm.
Mhm.
I've worked at a lot of different types of schools, private schools, public schools. I've worked as a consultant with some of those, and the overarching theme we hear from most students that start the process but do not finish it is that it just became
Mhm.
too much to keep in mind, time frames. I got all this checklist stuff I've got to do. And, you're making a big decision. It is an important step. So it's not something you want to do lightly. But like Amanda said, um, we want folks that want to be self-directed can be self-directed and have us as a support, but those that need, that guidance, we're here for you there as well. My biggest piece of advice for ACHS is whether it be the application questions or the conversations you have with the admissions advising team is to really tell us who you are and what you want to do. Um, that goes into some questions in your application. It's not just to tell your story. That actually gets reviewed by the admissions committee. But our goal as well is not just to fit you with something, but if we know down the road you have a specific plan, what's the best thing to get you there? Um, if your ultimate goal is a bachelor's degree, we may also have a way to get you there that will allow you to get a certificate, associate, and a bachelor's in the same amount of time. So it's all about telling us like what's the ultimate goal instead of just what's the goal for tomorrow, and really how you want to put this to use. So that helps us more than anything. One of the most common answers we get when it's the question is, what has you interested in doing this? Is I'm interested in holistic health. Great. That's awesome. But how does an education in holistic health and wellness help you do something down the road, whether that be for your family, your community, or as a career, or maybe you're already in a career you're wanting to add this on to. So all of those things have a different route that we can take. So
Yeah.
that's my thing. Just tell us who you are, and then this team is so skilled at knowing how to support each individual process. So.
And I know it sounds crazy, but I have students that come in that think they want a certain program, but their goals don't match that.
Mhm.
So, like, I've had graduate students, their goal is to get a certain type of licensure in their state. We can get you to the program to accomplish that goal and educate you and get you the resources. So, sometimes it's something you're not aware of that we know is going to really highlight and help you get that path. So, again, that, all the information possible about you and your story and what you want to achieve. Perfect.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Amanda. I think we're all chomping at the bit here to get to our star guest today. Anissa Arguelles, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background here at ACHS, and then we'll get into your questions.
Yeah, so firstly, I just want to kind of piggyback off of the tail end of what you had just wrapped up. I so distinctly remembered that very first phone call with my advisor. I joined the school in 2022, and I remember them asking just what are your goals? What do you want to do, and how can I help you get there? And we discussed different plans and different programs that I wasn't even aware were a possibility for me. So I did end up taking that sort of progression track where my goal was to get a bachelor's degree because I knew that that's what I needed to get in order to become an acupuncturist. So that's what I'm working towards slowly but surely. And my advisor at the time recommended, well, we can get you there, absolutely, no questions asked, but how do you feel about also maybe getting your herbal studies certificate along the way? So just that experience, being able to learn that knowledge, get those credentials, and then apply those credits to my bachelor's program and just right into that program. It's been fantastic.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
But with that said, I did start with the school in 2022. I earned the certificate in herbal studies in 2023. And like I said, I jumped right into the bachelor's program from there. I'm wrapping that program up with plans to graduate this upcoming summer before I move on to grad school for acupuncture. Now, somewhere along the way, our beloved English professor, Lisa Warman, reached out to me 2 years ago at this point, and asked me if I wanted to join at the time it was called the Peer Tutor Center. And I was just so mind blown and honored. Um, I took her up on that offer. And that has been such an incredible journey to be able to connect with students, not just on the discussion boards in the classrooms, but also being with them one-on-one. You know, we love our professors, we absolutely love them, but we're also in the trenches with you as another student. So I've been able to help students with anything ranging from just navigating the Canvas platform to APA formatting, citations and references, finding research, and then even just submitting those assignments. So it's been an absolute pleasure.
I love that. Thank you, Anissa.
You're welcome.
And a little bit about your background. I know we're going to jump into some questions, but um, I think it's helpful to sometimes talk a little bit like sort of where you came from. You were not a
Yeah, so
traditional 19-year-old student who came in. What made you decide you were ready to come back to school and figure it all out?
Yeah, so I have a pretty extensive background in emergency veterinary medicine. And this is sort of a two-parted story here. With that background, I was one of the emergency vets that I used to work with. I had a cat who was experiencing seizures. And this vet that I was working with also was trying to get her certificate, I believe it is for veterinarians in acupuncture. And she asked if she could start using him for a case study that she was doing, and she did. And to this day, I swear that she gave me like 6 more months with him. So just to see his eyes and his fur going from dull and practically lifeless to full of life and shining, and she gave me my cat back. So I also, the second part to that story, I have rheumatoid arthritis, and after seeing the absolute magic that she worked on him, I started doing some research into, oh, well, this was really cool, and I could see that healing happening in real time. What can it do for others with autoimmune diseases? And the symptoms for autoimmune disease is just so vast. So acupuncture 100% can help in multiple ways. So that's what initially prompted me to start that journey. But then I got into the school and I'm thinking, okay, I'm working full time. I, at the time, was a single mom to two young kids, and just trying to juggle all of that. I found that the flexibility of our classes was able to help me get that entire certificate program done while working full time, while, having my kids. Um, so I was able to experience that perspective. And somewhere along the road, I gained a lot more support, and I was able to step back from working full time and focus 100% on my studies. So just being able to see those two different perspectives and how the school offers that flexibility to work with honestly whatever your lifestyle looks like. It's been awesome.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. 'Cause I think that's so important that lives change, our
Yeah.
situation changes. And that's, again, something we support, and that flexibility allows that. So that's cool. Thank you. Troy,
Yeah,
next slide.
I think we've covered some of these already, but let's jump in and just and get some more detail.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
one of the biggest questions I get, he says, like, what does it look like to even be a student with an online? Like, how do you figure it out with two kids at home? What is a week in the life what is it like for you?
So I technically like to start my weeks on Sunday night. I'll take some time, whether it's right after dinner or in the morning while they're off distracted doing whatever. I find some time on Sunday to look ahead at the upcoming week. And I think that that's really important about being in an online environment is taking the time to plan ahead, to look ahead, see what's coming up. So I'll mark down on my calendar, any Zoom classes that are coming up. I'll actually mark to myself too to see whether or not that fits into my schedule, or if I'll have to watch the recording afterwards.
Mhm.
Um, I'll take note of whatever assignments are due that week, um, and just make sure that I have everything written down that Sunday. And I'll assign different days to different courses so that, let's say Monday I'm working on Psych 303. That is my day for Psych 303. Um, so staying on top of that has been very, very helpful. But then, as I progress throughout the week, I do I think just staying organized to make sure that you are getting all of those assignments done, but then allowing yourself some time for wiggle room, just in case, let's say I have my Psych 303 discussion board that I told myself I am going to get this done on Tuesday, and something came up and that didn't work out for me. I do leave myself some wiggle room to make sure that I come back to that. Um, One of the students that I was working with referred to the Zoom quizzes and knowledge building quizzes as side quests, and I love that so much. I've started referring to them as that myself. I love them. Um, that is another thing that I will sort of try to get out of the way is
Mhm.
not my favorite way to phrase it because those are absolutely invaluable. But just getting those done first, especially those knowledge building quizzes, um, just to take them without doing the reading first. That way, as I'm doing the reading, I can pay attention to what I need to pay attention to a little bit
Yeah.
more, what I need to take notes on. Because with those quizzes, you can take them time and time again. So
Mhm.
they're a really powerful study tool.
I love that. So I usually tell my students to expect to spend 8, 9, 10 hours a week for each class that they're enrolling into. So for example, if they're half time, they need up to 20 hours a week, Monday through
Mhm.
Sunday. Do you think that's pretty realistic and you know, in terms of like that expectation? I know it can differ a little bit student to student, but
Yeah, I would say that it definitely differs a little bit from student to student, but when I was working full time and, when I took a step back from work entirely, I would say that that's not only realistic but accurate.
mhm,
You have to compile all of the time that you're spending doing the reading. Um, how much time does it take for you to write up your discussion board? For me personally, I
mhm,
like to copy the discussion board prompt into a separate document. And then as I'm going through the reading and I'm like, oh, that sounds really good. I want to include that as a citation. I'll just, add that to my notes in that discussion board document. So if once you add up all of the time that you're dedicating to that particular subject, I would say, yeah, it probably comes out to about 9, 10 hours.
yeah. And I think what's nice is I hate to like repeat the flexibility, but I do have students that will maybe start out like with 2 classes, get their foot, get their toes wet, figure out how it works in their family, and you can add classes on. Or if you
Yeah.
start full time and you're like, I did it, I'm really proud of myself, but I need to go down to 3 classes. We can do that. So it's okay that to navigate it step by step. Um, we have a really good question from one of the students attending. How do you find time for your kids? Like actually make sure that, you have work or life, school, but still make sure they get some of your focus.
That is a really good question. So I have a very privileged experience with that right now because at this point they're 10 and 12 years old. I dedicate my studies to when they're in school themselves. However, especially during the summer when they're not in school and they are home with me most of the time, I tell them, hey, I'm going to be working on this from this time to this time. I'm going to take a break from this time to this time, and during that time, let's go do something. Let's play outside. Let's go to the park. Let's, play a board game or whatever. So communicating that with them at this point is a little bit easier than when I first started, because they were much younger then, 6, 7, and 8 or 9. Um, so it was a little bit more challenging then because they didn't fully understand, hey, mom's busy right now. Um, so in that case, I the reading where I had to pay a little bit more attention, where I had to take notes and get that time to myself in, I would do it when they went to bed.
Mhm. Yeah. I had one student, her kids were very athletic, a lot of events. She said because she had to take them to practice, instead of driving home, she would do all of her readings like at the practices at the beginning of the
Hmm.
week. So like really just maneuvering time and fitting it into a schedule and just being
Yeah.
creative, I think. Yeah. Well, I don't see any more questions. So let's jump into the next one. My favorite thing is practical labs, the hands-on,
Mhm.
which most of my students don't realize they're always going to receive at our college. Can you talk about like what does it mean to get practical labs and kits and materials every term? What does that look like in your classes and how does it help you learn?
So tracking that shipment label when I get the little email, you have a package on the way from ACHS. Oh, that is one of my favorite parts of the year. Because as soon as it arrives, I'm opening like it's like Christmas morning. I'm ripping into that box and I'm going through and I'm smelling all of the oils and I'm looking at all of the herbs, and it's so rewarding to be able to take a look at that. I recommend definitely opening that box as soon as it comes in. One, because it's super fun. It's like getting a gift from the school every time. But also, two, you want to correlate whatever you had gotten from your box to the your course's required materials. Make sure that you have everything. Um, and if you don't, you want to reach out to the apothecary shop right away so that, whenever the module comes where you have that practical lab assignment, you're all set and ready to go. Now, as far as the actual practical labs go, I have regularly found myself, it's speaking of, studying with kids, I have regularly found myself including my kids with those practical labs. You have in every assignment for those labs, you're given all of the instructions, um, and you have all of the materials from that box that came in. And so it's a very hands-on way to work with the materials that you're given. For example, like in herb, you can be asked to make a decoction or an infusion. Um, so you can see in real time how that would work. How much time do I need to let this herb steep? How much of an herb do I need to measure to how much water? If it's a decoction, what are the steps in making a decoction? How do I do that? Um, so it goes beyond absorbing information from a Zoom or from the textbook, and it actually applies that hands-on knowledge.
Yeah, I know like my favorite was when I took Herb 101 is some like you said, immediately from week 2, jumping in, like making a tea blend. What is
Mhm.
the smartest way to do that, like in terms of the advisement? Like you pick your top 3 herbs for the
Yeah,
therapeutic uses you want. Um, and I know like, like everyone in my household could taste the tea. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm. Very cool. How do you do practical labs in classes that are not necessarily like herbal focus, like maybe a nutrition class or you're taking stress emotional management? How do they build that practical learning then for those classes that don't, we're not always sure how to put it together?
Yeah, so I find that one thing that I really, really love is that even though different courses might not be inherently part of a core specialization, the school does a phenomenal job of linking everything together. Um, so like even when I was taking my math courses, when I first signed up for math, I was dreading it so, so much. Like, what am I doing here? I haven't taken math in 10 years. There's no way, I mean, yes, I am gonna need it, but there's no way I need to use this. So I was just dreading it, absolutely dreading it until that practical lab kit came in and it had herbs because one of the practical labs for this course that was not even related to my major, it was asking me to do some math with herbs. So they do really do a great job at connecting all of these
How do
lesser
I use it in
appealing
real life?
courses to our majors.
I love that you brought up Math 101 because our program dean of gen eds, Lori actually won some awards last year for how she revised our curriculum. So people, like you said, didn't like people are nervous about math. But then when they realize they're learning math, but actually applying it to, I'm going to use this as an herbalist and how do I do it? Or an
Yeah,
aromatherapist, the students like realized, oh, I get it. Because it's not just random calculations, because that's something I use every day and it's practice.
yeah,
That's so cool.
yeah, absolutely.
So one of the other questions we get a lot is, am I ever even going to speak to my teacher? Do I get to know the students in my class? So from your experience, what does it feel like to be an online student? And how do you access that support and community? Do you get to talk to your professor?
Yeah, I highly encourage, trying to build any type of relationship with your professors that you can. Even if, the probably the easiest way to do it is to attend live Zooms, but that's not always feasible for our schedules. But aside from that, I please, please, please email your professors. Any question that you have, any question, they should be your first go-to. Um, because that's what they're there for. They love the questions, especially since we're not in a brick and mortar environment where, you can just raise your hand and ask. This is the communication that they get from you is when you reach out to them because they don't know that you have that question. So I definitely recommend, establishing that relationship as soon as possible. And even if, you aren't sure what specifically to email your professor, they are more often than not giving you valuable feedback for all of your submitted essay type assignments. So interact with them there. It's even just a very simple thank you, I didn't think of that. Or asking them questions about the feedback that they provided you. So just engaging in conversation wherever is possible.
Mhm.
Um, and our instructors also have virtual office hours, so that's a great resource to use to pop in and ask, like, hey, I didn't know how to reach out to you through email, but I saw your office hours here. I have this question. Um, because it goes such a long way to, establish that rapport with your instructors. So
Mhm.
yes, I would say that one, please reach out to your professors.
How do
But
you find, because we have professors all over the US, not just here in
yeah,
Oregon, how do you see them handle the time differences? My experience is they're incredibly flexible because they're very passionate about their role here. But
yeah.
is it easy, like to schedule times? What are when do they hold their office hours as well?
So not even just the US, my stress management professor is in Mexico.
Oh,
So with all of these differing time zones, they are incredibly flexible. Um, they I have one professor for two of my classes right now, and she does hers on Sunday nights. So that works a little bit better for her schedule. She also holds her office hours um, right after, like in between those two Zooms. But even if that is not available to you, if it does not work for your schedule, she's also incredibly responsive to any emails that you send her. She stresses every single week, if you have questions, please reach out to me. I'm very responsive. I will respond within 24 hours, oftentimes a lot sooner than that.
Mhm.
Um, so taking advantage of every different avenue that you can that works best for your schedule, because I cannot stress the flexibility of the school enough. It really, really does work for a variety of schedules and
And
lifestyles.
I want to bring this in is also the flexibility of the other support. Do you mind talking about the student services? Excuse me, being having a success advisor as well as like the students' access to the mentoring department that you work in. And how does those hours work and work with other students?
Yeah, so just to touch on the student success uh, resources initially, I have had many times where I've had a quick question about my registration status for an upcoming term, or, hey, this says that I'm registered for this class, but I know that I'm going to be taking that, like just general questions for my advisor. And I've emailed him. He's gotten back to me super quickly within the day. I think that that is one benefit of being on the East Coast and him being on in Pacific time, because I can email him at, 6 o'clock my time at night, and it's still 3 o'clock his time. So I'm, still getting that answer before I go to bed. And
Mhm.
that's, I personally enjoy that. But I've also been able to schedule a last minute phone call or Zoom session with him through the availability of his calendar. So just knowing that any of my advisors really, I emailed him earlier this week about my registration for my last 6 remaining classes, and he was out of the office for this week. But somebody else emailed me within the hour saying, "Hey, Joel's away right now, but let me help get you all situated," and they did, and it was so even if your primary advisor is not directly able to help you, you will be taken care of
Mhm.
regardless and quickly.
Yeah, no, I just really appreciate you sharing that because I think it's very normal for students coming in to get a little nervous. Like, I live here, but you guys are there, or
Yeah.
and knowing like how do I get in touch with everyone so I have those connections. So thank
Yeah, yeah.
you.
No, it's I know that we keep coming back to this word flexibility, but that really perfectly describes the school and the environment and the communication style. So another flexible support resource that's offered is the Peer Support Center, and that is where I'm a peer mentor. Um, there are 5 of us now, and we offer open hour sessions, which if we were in a brick and mortar school, that would essentially be like, hey, I'm renting out a little room in the library. I'm going to be here from this time to this time. Come in with any questions that you have, your materials, your assignments, and we'll work on them together. If you have any questions about this subject, or I would say that APA formatting, finding credible research and getting those citations, those in-text citations, is those are probably the biggest things.
Mhm.
Because APA in of itself is such there's such a learning curve to it. I have often described it as like learning a new language, just
Mm.
because there are so many intricacies to it. Um, so, students are going to have questions about that, about how to format, how to implement all of that. So come on in, come join us in our open hours. Um, and we do offer support with, a variety of subjects. One of our senior mentors, Danny, she loves aromatherapy. So she's, any aromatherapy students that I get, if I don't know the answer, I'm sending them to her. A couple of other uh, the rest of us are mostly herbal students, but we have also one of us is pursuing a lot of nutrition courses. So we do offer support with variety of the core subjects. And then the gen eds, the sciences, we're happy to help out with that too. So that's during our open hours. And then Ashley is our one of our fantastic mentors. I love them all. We have such a great team. We really, really do. But one thing that Ashley offers is body double sessions, which again, if we were in a brick and mortar school, this is not a tutoring session. It's more like a study session. So you would go to study hall, you would independently work on your own assignments. And it's just being there with each other and fostering that sense of community and belonging, and accountability to actually get your stuff done.
It's funny you say that. Isn't there some research with body doubling with people with ADHD and
Yeah.
it increases their success? Yeah,
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
that.
Ashley has the research. Well, I'm sure that there's loads of research supporting that, but she does have some studies to cite that.
Yeah, very cool. Um, I guess as we head into it, what's your best advice for students to be successful coming into school, even in their first semester?
That's a really good question. So I would say to plan ahead, get comfortable with your specific learning style and integrate that into what you're doing throughout the week. And there are so many different opportunities to build community through the school. And that's honestly one of the things that I love most about ACHS is that for being an online school, I feel a stronger sense of community and belonging here than I did in a brick and mortar school that I went to 10 years ago.
Yeah,
But in order to be a part of that, you have to engage with your support resources, talk to your professors, engage with your classmates on those discussion boards, get to know them because I'm in my last year of my bachelor's program and I'm seeing a lot of the same names that I've been seeing over the last few semesters and it is so cool to see somebody in that the community cafe at the very beginning of the term and be like, "Oh, hey, we have this class together. I remember. I'm so proud to see that you're continuing what you're doing. You're doing what you love." So just building that those relationships, it is absolutely possible, and the school does a phenomenal job at fostering that.
I love that so much. So what I'm hearing is communication, reach
Yes.
out, whether you need help or not, just to communicate and touch base, and don't be shy about asking for help. I love it.
Yeah, I would add organization and planning to that as well in order to be most successful.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned that that's how you started being successful is like I'm planning out my day on Sunday. I'm making
Yes.
blocks of time.
Yes.
I have some students that they block out their calendar. Some students are successful. They create a list every day. Some people, it's more of habit. I do school from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. every day. But yeah,
Yeah,
I think figuring out what works for you and sticking with it and being consistent. I love that so much. Thank you so much for sharing.
you're
Yeah, that's
Anything
welcome.
else you
awesome.
want to throw out there before we hit the next slide?
So one quick thing that I wanted to mention, and this goes back to integrating kids and your schoolwork.
Mhm.
You mentioned blocking out the calendar. I have a magnetic calendar that we have on the fridge, and whatever times, this is especially true for the summer when they're at home and they can take a look at that calendar. So whatever times I plan on dedicating to my studies that week, I'll write it, like I'll block it off on that calendar so that they can see, oh, mom's, in her office right now. I'm not gonna come crashing down into the office wondering about a snack.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that is really, I don't want to say I'm being cheesy, but I've had some parents tell me it's helping my kids see the importance of school. Like they become like
Yeah.
I may even do some of my homework when they're doing homework.
Yeah.
I mean, some kids have homework as early as like first, second grade now. But just like combining that and showing them it's possible and
Hmm.
that boundary as well, like respecting mom or dad when we need to step away for an hour and go read. And
Hmm.
um, yeah, it seems parents say the kids really fall into line once they get into that routine of it too.
Yes, I think that that word routine that needs to be added to the advice to be most successful. You need to find what works for you and stick to that routine as much as you can. Of course, life is going to happen, schedules and lives fluctuate, but to the best of your ability, find a routine and stick to it.
Love it. Do you mind go to the next slide, Troy?
Yeah, before we do, there was a question that came in to the chat, but it just came to the host and panelists.
Okay.
So I think it's a really good one. So I wanted to put it out there. It kind of speaks to what we've been talking about with the admissions part of it, but also the flexibility. Um, so we have a student, Zan Bullock, who's on with us today, who's going to be starting in January, I believe. And it's just going to be starting off with one course per semester for the first 3 semesters. Um, the idea there that, you know, let's see how this goes. Let me see what the workload looks like for just one course at a time. And the question is, I know that'll take me longer, but what are your thoughts on this as an advisor? So I wanted to point that out. We've talked about flexibility within the classes, when you study, things like that, things that are personal to you, but that's a really good point. We call that rate of pursuit. So some students start with one course if you're able to do that. Some do two, some do three, some do four. So that again speaks back to um, having that open conversation from the beginning of what are you able to handle. There are everybody's different. Some students have an open canvas and they want to get things done as quickly as possible, and that is the highest level of importance to them is I want to get this done. If
Mhm.
that's the case, and you have the time to do it, then we may, look at a full-time schedule. If you don't have a lot of time, or if you want to just really focus in, you could take 2 courses, and then you can do individual courses as well if you have that, financial plan to do that. But yes, so I think the important thing there is know yourself, help us understand what is going to be more comfortable for you, and know that you don't have to be locked in. So if you do start with 4 courses per semester and it's a lot, that's something you want to communicate to student services, and so that they can maybe adjust you the next semester to maybe just 3 or 2, and vice versa. You start with 1 or 2, and you think you can accelerate and take some more, you're not locked into that same rate of pursuit all the way through. So I just thought that was a really good question and wanted to make sure everybody got that answer.
Yeah.
So
Um, Go ahead.
I was just going to say, just to add on to that a little bit, I actually did that when I was doing the certificate in herbal studies program. That's just a 3 course program, or not 3 course per term is what I did. Um, because it was just 6 classes. So, I was able to get that done and comfortably so. But then as I was diving from there into my bachelor's program, that's also when summer was starting for my kids. So at the time I was like, how am I going to do this? I want to continue. I know that that's my plan. That is my goal. So I talked to my advisor and they said, well, why don't, just to kind of get a feel for it, especially since you're starting with this new program in the summer, go to 2 classes just to get a feel for it, see how that works out for you. And if in the fall, once the kids are back in school, if you are comfortable with adding another class or two, that's 100% possible. We can do that. And that is what I ended up doing. So you can absolutely fluctuate your schedule.
Mhm. Yeah, we're looking at everything, your time,
Mhm.
life, family, but also how soon do you want to graduate? Because
Mhm.
sometimes some students may need to challenge themselves if they want to finish in a certain timeline as well. But just putting all the pieces together to support you. So yeah.
This is great. I think this is some great information for our guests today, but also students in the future that are going to get to see this and get the benefit of this advice. So we've touched on a little bit of being a student. We've also jumped in a little bit to the support that students receive here. So we're going to look at that a little bit more. We may have covered some of these already, but why don't we start off with you've touched on the peer mentor program, but what other support is available to students that you would want to call out?
One that is not taken advantage nearly enough in my opinion, is timely care.
Hmm.
This is a free resource for all of us as students. Please, please, please reach out to Timely Care. You can get set up with a counselor there. You can get set up with a coach. You can even just browse Timely Care for different types of home resources, self-guided meditations. I found some recipes on there too at some point. But there are so many different tips and tricks
Yeah,
on Timely Care.
can't you even, there's health and wellness coaching. So I tell
Mhm.
students that want to do health and wellness coaching because it's free for you, the student, why not sign up and get like some experience at other people's sort of styles as you're
Mhm.
learning how to be a health and wellness coach? Or I think you have access to nurses, like doctor appointments and
Yep.
counseling. So whether or not you have insurance, they don't ask for any of that. It's all entirely free while you're a student.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up. I always forget, but it is amazing because we
It's
got,
such a powerful tool. It really, really is.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's such a big thing all across the world of education these days is, there's so much focus on the academics and the time and the finances and things like that. But the mental wellness is something that sometimes gets forgotten. So that's um, very important here at ACHS that we have because we don't have a brick and mortar,
Mhm.
building you can go into and talk to a counselor. We want to make sure you still have that access.
Yeah.
So
It literally ranges from student success coaching to mental health care and everything in between.
Yeah.
And I love that it's online because when I was in college, I was so shy. It was very challenging, just my personality back in the day, to like go down to the health center and say what I need help with. So like
Yeah.
know that there's something virtual that students don't have to feel anxious about that. They can just log
Mhm.
in and click the button of what they need. I think is awesome.
There's also an anonymous discussion board. So even if, you just want to vent a little bit about one of your classes or a life circumstance, you can use that discussion board and it's totally anonymous.
I love that.
that's awesome. So you kind of answered the third bullet there, what sources are not taken full advantage of. But we've also talked about a lot of different things. So
Yeah.
if once you are a student here, where do you go to look for all this stuff? Where do you go? Where are all the resources living to make it easy
So
to find?
it can be a little overwhelming at first when you first log into Canvas and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do from here? There are so many things to click on. There are so many different tabs to browse through. I would recommend, just taking a little bit of time clicking through everything just to get a sense of where everything lives. Your instructors will also usually the very first Zoom of each term, they'll go through a little bit of housekeeping, just showing you where to find everything that's relevant to that course. Um, but when you're in Canvas, I just pulled it up myself to make sure that I'm giving accurate information here. Timely care can be found in the left-hand menu. So that is one of the things if you're just, kind of clicking around through those main options, you can access it through there. And another
You can
really
also
powerful,
download it, right? Anissa, because I
yeah,
had it on my phone.
yes, you can download it. I personally have it bookmarked to my web browser just because for that specifically,
Yeah.
I just prefer using the computer. But yes, you can download the app too. Um, and then another resource that I wanted to mention is the library launchpad. Even
Mhm.
if you don't use it to find research through like, its specific database, you can access different databases through there, including PubMed, Natural Medicines, which is a whole database for herbal monographs, and those are really, really important to look through. Um, that a link for the library launchpad can be found uh, in a menu in any of your courses.
That's awesome. And I would add to all of that, if you're not sure where to look, reach out. Kind of back to
Please.
your communication, you know.
Oh, and Troy,
Talk-
I guess this probably got skipped, but all of our students complete a new student orientation that also helps sort of start that journey of like, where is everything? What are all the things?
Yeah.
How do I order my student ID card? So
Yeah.
you will have an opportunity to go through orientation to make sure you feel at ease even
Mhm.
before the first day of school.
Yeah, and that if you're starting in our fall two semester, you're probably doing that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And if you do at any point have any questions about how to access something, how to reach something, how to navigate a platform in general, please, please, please reach out. Especially for like tech help. We with the Peer Support Center can definitely help out with that.
I love
yeah,
that.
yeah. Asking questions is a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness. So
Absolutely.
full advantage. So we get a question a lot when we're talking with students in the beginning in admissions about, I want to do something like this, but my life is really busy right now. Should I wait until things get a little bit slower before I start? From your perspective, as someone who's kind of juggled a lot, what would you say to that question?
Life is never going to slow down. Um, it's just going to become what you make of it. So I always, always, always am going to encourage following your passions. And if that passion is going to school, do it now. Do it yesterday. Because the school will absolutely find a way to make it work for your life and for your schedule. It does require dedication on the students' end as well. This, I love what we're learning here at the school, but some of these classes are hard. This is not just like an easy, I'm gonna breeze through this and get a certificate or a diploma or a degree. It takes effort and dedication. So as long as you know that that is something you're willing to put forth, do it now.
And
Yeah,
if it was easy, everyone would do it, right, Anissa?
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but still in 2025, it's a very small population of students that go to college. It may feel
Yeah.
like everyone around you is, but um, you just have to be a little gritty. The passion is there, then it's just the perseverance. Half that battle is just showing up, and we're here to celebrate you when you do.
yeah. Be ready for a challenge, but know that you have people around you that really want to see you succeed. So that's a great response. The last two bullets here, I think we can sort of combine together because of your unique perspective. What support have you received that's helped you the most at ACHS? And as a peer mentor, what support have you given a student that you're most proud of?
Ooh, that is a really good question. So to start off with the first one, the support that I've received most or that has helped me most is the community.
Mm,
100% the community. So I include our instructors with that, reaching out to ask questions when I have questions, attending those live Zooms when I can. If I can't, then as I'm watching them, I will pause, write down my question, and then email the professor with that question. Um, so staying in communication with all of the different support services that are available. And as as a peer mentor, I would say that becoming a part of that and encouraging that communication. This it can feel so, so incredibly isolating to be doing an online school. And you don't have anybody within your circle that's close to you, that's going through the same things that you are. Um, so joining that online community that ACHS offers, becoming part of it, that's been the best advice that I've been able to give other students, is just staying in communication.
that's great. Yeah, communicate with your community. I think that's I've never thought about it that way. That you know, here at ACHS, a lot of our students and faculty and staff are all on the same wavelength. We're all kind of involved in the same types of things and have similar interests, but those that are in your immediate proximity may not be.
Mhm.
So it's not like
Yeah.
everybody that you hang out with is into herbal medicine or aromatherapy or holistic nutrition. So being able to tap into that and have real conversations, I think is powerful. So thank you for touching on that.
So I wanted to give one specific example related to that is, as a peer mentor, it's always such a rewarding experience when somebody comes to me with a question and I have that answer for them. But I've had more than a couple of students who have come to me and they feel so isolated, they feel so lost, they feel so discouraged. And because of all of those feelings that they've internalized, they're projecting that onto their assignments. So they'll
Mhm.
ask me like, "Hey, I'm not feeling great about this at all. I don't think it's good. I don't think my writing is clear and cohesive. I don't think that I should be submitting this." So I'll take a look through it, and it's been like some of the most profound writing that I've seen, and just, reminding them that like, hey, I think you're in your head right now. One, go see Timely Care, please. And then two, you you have such amazing and brilliant ideas that you've put on paper. So just reminding students that they are capable, that they do have fantastic ideas, and um that they can get it done. And yes, that's submission worthy. Go ahead, do it, and then go see Timely Care.
Yeah,
I love that.
great advice.
We're all
Um,
human.
yeah.
Yeah.
We are coming up on time here. I think we're at time, but I do want us to touch on the graduation experience a little bit, just because we do get questions about this,
Mhm.
specifically because we're online. There's, is there a graduation? Do I go somewhere? Can I do it along? What, and you've graduated from one of our programs, so I'd love your perspective on what the options are there and what that's like.
Yeah, so you are reminded about it several months in advance. You do get an email to remind you to register, to apply for graduation, to get registered. Um, there are two different options for graduation. You can either go in person in Portland to walk the stage, live. But if you can't attend, you can also attend the virtual Zoom graduation. And
That's
that's
great.
that's the option that I did for my certificate program.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
also
I've
can
attended
get
the
tickets.
stream as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get tickets for family members to attend virtually. So even if you're not here in Portland physically walking across the stage, we still call your name and recognize you. It's actually a very formal process and really creative, being that we have such a mix of students
Yeah.
that are here and attending online. So, yeah.
And Amanda, kind of question for you. So I've only been able to join the streaming
Uh-huh.
graduation, but you get to go there and be in there. What's it like? What's the energy like
You
there?
know, I'm getting goosebumps right now. It is the best time of the year. And it's a beautiful thing seeing our students, but even better is their friends and family that come. They are so proud. And um, it's just the energy is way up here. It's nothing but positiveness, so much positivity. We have an opportunity as students get, walking in, changing into gowns. You can talk with different staff members. Sometimes career services is doing interviews. Then we have the formal graduation itself, and afterwards we have the photographer, which a lot of the students and their family members don't realize it, but we have professional photographers there taking photos, documenting. So those are shared with students as well. And you just get to like meet some people. I don't, it's warm and fuzzy and pretty much the best day of the whole year. Most of us that live local block out our whole day to drive in, help set up, get to, mingle and just soak in the student and family's joy. So it's really cool. And we have students that come from all over, even international. It's not, it obviously can be quite an expense traveling, but some students do fly in from out of country or across the US. And I've noticed a lot of students also, if they have the time because of work and such, I'd say quite a handful will try to make it into a vacation because Oregon is amazing. Portland, you have the ocean 1 hour this way, mountains that way. I mean, you have amazing food. So a lot of people will stay a few days and even just soak in that like Portland West Coast energy, which is really, really cool too.
That's great. So, a couple more things before we wrap up. I don't think we'll get the chance to get into the admission steps, but if anyone is on today and wants to talk more about it, you can always put in a request for information or reach out to us directly, and we'd be happy to get you started. The question we get a lot from students that are graduating is, I want to do another program. I want to carry like Anissa did. I want to carry on with a higher level degree. Will my credits go over? So there is a misconception sometimes that if you go, let's say you finish your certificate and then you want to do the associates or the bachelor's, that you have to start over and you're all the credit. So anything you've taken in that certificate that is also in this associate, you basically done it already. So you
Yeah,
don't carry
matter
those
that.
credits in and you just do what's left over. And that's how a lot of times we're able to help students finish their bachelor's, but in that time frame, they've gotten a certificate and an associate's and a bachelor's. So they have three different credentials
Mhm.
along the way. So it just
Yeah.
takes some planning up front to know how we're going to do that.
And it's the same thing with a graduate level. If a student is wanting to complete their graduate certificate first, as long as classes match, they always roll forward to the next program. So you can also stack your credits at the graduate level.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then the last thing that I wanted to touch on is career services. So um, to jump to the last one, you can still get career assistance after you've graduated. You can just reach back out. But what I typically recommend, and what if Felicia were on today, I know she would tell you the same thing. Her best advice for students that are thinking about making this a career is to connect with career services as soon as possible, like right after you get started. Even if you're not graduating for several years, meeting with career services, letting them know who you are, get a plan together. What are you trying to do? What do we need to support you on? Maybe let's go ahead and start working on that resume now so that you don't have to do that at the last minute. So
And
just
they,
tips like that, I think are really helpful.
yeah, she loves to meet with students in your first semester or two. I mean, you can always reach out to her right before you graduate. She will be there. But half the work she does is helping students with traditional employment, like normal everyday jobs. Maybe it's a job just to pay the bills while you're in school, even. But a lot of our students, their goal is to be entrepreneurs. So the other half of the work she does from day one is also helping you with those goals and setting milestones through your program. So she's amazing on both fronts and definitely take advantage of that.
This has been great. I really, I think this has been my favorite webinar we've done in a while. If you want to see others that we've had, I would point you towards YouTube, ACHS TV. We've got uh, a whole catalog of webinars from the past, all different subjects. So check that out if you're looking for some more learning and content. And there's some other social medias there to keep track of, just to get information. This is our amazing admissions team. They are working tirelessly with students every single day because it is important to give one-on-one attention. So even a small team is a very mighty team. So that's how you can get a hold of us and schedule an appointment. And we'd be happy to help out.
Yeah.
Amanda, Anissa, anything else to add before we wrap up today?
Not at all. We really appreciate all your time and questions. And like we've all communicated over, just reach out. Let us know what you need. We're here.
Yeah, we're here for you. Have a great afternoon, evening, and we'll see you soon.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.